जी दंडवत प्रणाम प्रभु जी।
हरे कृष्ण माता जी, प्रणाम माता जी। Taking a little longer time to go live is something wrong there.
But it shows that you're already live, Prabhuji.
We are live? Fine, we go ahead. Okay. Lovely. Let us begin with the prayers. Before we begin with prayers, all the devotees, Hare Krishna, please accept my humble obeisances and Danut Pranam. I invite you to the early morning short Bhagavatam class organized by Radha Govinda Temple, Kulai, Mangaluru, and I indeed invite you for and on behalf of His Grace Sri Ramanesa Das Prabhuji. We begin with our prayers. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. श्री चैतन्य मनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम् वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुन् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं सागरजातं सकल रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवम् साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं श्रीकृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् स्वगणता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधो जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते सप्त कांचन गौरांगी श्री राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी विष्णुते देवी प्रणमामि हरि कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो
वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः।
ओम विष्णुपादाय कृष्ण प्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी इति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Please follow me. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam.
Narayanam Naram Chaiva
Naram Chaiva Narottamam.
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jaya Mudire.
Devim
Devi
Saraswatim
Saraswati
सरस्वती
Vyasam
Vyasam
Tato
Tato
व्यासं
Jaya
ततो
Jayamudire.
Mudire.
जयमुदीरये।
Shurnatam Sukatha Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana
Shunvatam
Shunvatam
Sukha
Sukoha
Krishna Punya Shravana
Krishna
Kirtana.
पुण्य
श्रवण कीर्तन
कीर्तनः
हृदयन्त सूयभद्राणि विदुनोति सुरसताम्
वदयन्तस्तो हि भद्राणि विरियन्तोरि
नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया
नष्टप्रायेष्वभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया
भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवती नैष्टिकी
भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी
Wonderful. Okay. Now, yesterday we did a marathon of almost 10 verses, and it appears that things are not changing today. If you look at the purport comes for the first time after 11 or 12 verses. So I think that's really going too much, doing so many verses on a day. So we'll stick to how far we go. Let's see. We did up to 40 yesterday. So let us begin with the 41. Good. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 6, Prescribed Duties for Human Beings, Chapter 14, Chapter 14, King Chitraketu laments, Ketu's lamentation, verse number 41. दासीनां को नु संताप स्वामिनः परिचर्यया अभीक्षणं लभ्यमानानां दास्यादासिव बुधुर्भगा. Madhumai Krishnan Mataji, go ahead. Hare Krishna Mataji. You are muted. Am I audible? Madhumai Mataji?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Hare Krishna.
Go ahead.
Om Pranams Prabhuji, Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Dasinam Konu Santapaha Swaminaha Paricharyaya Abhiksham Labdhamananam Dasya Dasiva Durbhagaha. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Pranandini Madhavi Mataji.
कृष्ण प्रभु जी प्रणाम प्रभु जी
Hare
ओम
Krishna.
नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय दासिनां को नुसन्तापः स्वामिनः परिचर्यया अभिक्षणं लब्धमानानां दास्य दासिव दुर्भगाः. हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी. थैंक यू प्रभु.
Mataji, can you read synonyms for us?
Yes प्रभु जी, sure. Synonyms: the synonym of the maid servants, kaha, what, new, indeed, santapah, lamentation, swaminaha, unto the husband, paricharyaya, by rendering service, abhikyanam, constantly, labdhamananam, honored, dasya, of the maid servant, dasi ivaha, like a maid servant, durbhaga, most unfortunate. Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Thank you Prabhuji.
Thank you, Mataji. Translation. Translation by Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Even maid servants who are constantly engaged in rendering service to the husbands are honored by the husband, and thus they have nothing for which to lament. Our position, however, is that we are maid servants of the maid servant. Therefore, we are most unfortunate. The wives are talking that they are maid servants of the maid servants. It's continuing from yesterday, where we left that the wives were treated like maid servants. Verse number 42. Okay. Madhuswari Mataji. Hare Krishna Mataji.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी, दंडवत प्रणाम प्रभु जी। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। एवं सध्यमानानां सपत्न्या पुत्र संपदा राज्ञो असम्मतवृत्तानां विद्वेषो बलवान् भूत। थैंक यू प्रभु जी। हरे कृष्ण
Thank you. Chitra Mohini Devi Dasi ji. Hare Krishna Mataji. Pranam.
प्रभु जी, प्रणाम प्रभु जी। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। एवं संधय्यमानानां सपत्न्यां पुत्र संपदा राज्ञो असमतरुत्तीनां विदेशो बलवान् भूत। हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी। थैंक यू प्रभु जी।
Thank you. Surya Prakash Rao Prabhuji. Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Pranam.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dhanvat Pranams. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Evam Sandhyahamananam Sapatyaha Putra Sampada Rajo Sammata Vrittinam Vidvesho Balavana Bhut. Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Revati Ratnagi Devi Dasi ji. Hare Krishna Mataji.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी, प्रणाम प्रभु जी। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। एवं संतः मानानां सप्लया पुत्र संपदा रोज असंबद्ध वृद्धीनां विद्वेषो बलवान बुधः। हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी, थैंक यू वेरी मच।
Mataji, can you read synonyms for us?
यस प्रभु जी, थैंक यू प्रभु जी। एवं दास संध्या मानाना of queens who were constantly burning in lamentation as a sampatanya of the co-wife kritya duty putra sampada due to the opulence of his son rajnaha by the king asamata vriddina not being very much favored vidveshaha envy balavan very strong abhut became. Thank you very much Prabhuji. Hare Krishna
Thank you,
Prabhuji.
Mataji. Thank you. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Sri Sukadeva Goswami continued, being neglected by their husband and seeing Krita's duty's opulence in possessing a son, Krita Duty's co-wives always burned in envy, which became extremely strong. Verse number 43. We'll go up to 44. Okay, Uma Kulkarni Mataji. Hare Krishna Mataji.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। विद्वेषानष्टमतयः स्त्रियो दारुणचेतसः गरं ददु कुमाराय दुर्मर्षा नृपतिं प्रति। हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी।
Thank you. Pranandini Madhvi Mataji.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी। विद्वेष नष्टमतयः स्त्रियो दारुणचेतसः गरं दद्युः कुमाराय दुर्मर्षाः नृपतिं प्रति। हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी, थैंक यू प्रभु जी।
Mataji, can you read synonyms for us?
यस प्रभु जी।
Okay.
Synonyms: विद्वेष नष्टमतया, whose intelligence was lost in envy. Priya, the woman. Daruna chetasa, being very hard-hearted. Garam, poison. Daduhu, administered. Kumaraya, unto the boy. Durmasaha, being intolerant. Nrupatim, the king. Prati, upon. Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Thank you Prabhuji.
Thank you. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. As their envy increased, they lost their intelligence. Being extremely hard-hearted, and unable to tolerate the king's neglect, they finally administered poison to the son. Right, now next verse, that is verse number 44, that is the last verse we'll be doing today. Surya Prakash Rao Prabhuji, Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. कृतद्युते जानन्ति सपत्नीनामघं महत् सुप्ता एवेति सञ्चिन्त्यः निर्लक्ष्य व्यचरेत् गृहे. हरे कृष्ण.
Tatyutirjananti sampatninamadham mahat supta eveti sajjintya nirikshya vyacharatu grahe.
Prabhuji,
Revati Ratnangi Mataji. Hare Krishna
have I
Mataji.
read in mute and
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Go ahead, Mataji.
जानन्ति सम्पिन्ननामदं महत् सुब्धये वेति संयत्य दीक्षया विचर्तृगृहे. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, thank you very much.
Can you read synonyms for us, Mataji?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Prabhuji, have I recited the sloka?
Yes, you have recited.
I thought that I was in mute, Prabhu.
No, you are not unmuted. You are muted, not muted. Thank you, Prabhuji. Go ahead, Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Kritya Yudit. Again Kritya Yudit. Ajananti. Being unaware of. Sabdaninam. Of her co-wives. Agam, sinful act. Mahat, very great. Subdaha, sleeping. Iva, indeed. Iti, thus. Sanchintaya, thinking. Nirikshaya, looking at. Vyasarat was walking. Grihe, at home. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, thanks a lot, thanks a lot.
Thank you very much, Revati Ratnangi Mataji, for giving service twice. Thank you. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Unaware of the poison administered by her co-wives, Queen Krita Dyuti walked within the house thinking that her son was sleeping deeply. She did not understand that he was dead. The last four verses have been depicting one of the most powerful weakness of living entities, especially human beings. The verse number 40 that we had yesterday, we learned that the co-wives, except Krita Dyuti, were all ill-treated or not treated well. Krita Dyuti got the son by the mercy and the instructions of Angira Muni, who visited without any purpose Raja Chitraketu. She had a son which was growing well, and Chitraketu was very happy having a son after so much of efforts. In spite of having millions of wives, he could not get a son until now. But in the process of accelerating the wife who gave son, the other wives were neglected. And when this neglect comes in, the envy develops. You all know what is the definition of envy. Prema Kishori Mataji has taught us very well that I like what you have, but I don't like that you have it. This envy then takes over. Envy has been very well described in Bhagavad Gita. Sureka Mataji, do you remember this verse where envy is described?
Not exactly, but there is one verse, Irsha Dvesha Samuttena Dvandva Mohena Bharat. So,
Okay.
that one I
Yeah.
cannot.
There is another verse where they describe the whole process. Ultimately, you lose your intelligence. And
That
once,
one. Dhyayato Vishayan Punsa Sangasteshu Upajayate Sangat Sanjayate Kama
Yes, Prabhuji.
Kamat
Right.
Krodho Bhava Kamat
can
Krodho.
you recite again and then tell us
Yes,
the translation?
yes. Dhyayato Vishayan Punsa Sangasteshu Upajayate Sangat Sanjayate Kama Kamat Krodho Bhijayate Krodhat Bhavati Sammoha Sammoha Smriti Viprama Smriti Bhanshat Buddhi Nasho Buddhi Nashat Pranashyati. This one. So it starts from desiring
Yeah.
something. Dhyayato Vishyan Punsa, something of the that leads to Indriya Trupti. So person thinks about it. Dhyayato. And then
Yeah.
you get the sangha of it. So you get attached to it. Sangha.
Okay.
Then sangat sanjayate kama. So your desire becomes very strong. Calm.
Uh-huh.
So very
Uh-huh.
strong desire. Then kamat krodha abhijayate. So when your desire is not fulfilled, it leads to krodha, anger within you.
Okay.
Then
Okay.
krodhat bhavati sammoha. Then you go into delusion. And
Okay.
delusion leads to loss of memory.
Yeah.
Krodhat bhavati sammoha, sammohat smriti vibrama, loss of memory. Smriti bhaushat buddhi nasho. The loss of memory leads to buddhi nash. So your intelligence is lost. And buddhi nashat pranashyati. So it leads to your total downfall, patan. Like that,
Yes.
Prabhuji. Hare
So
Krishna.
now, thank you very much, Sureka Mataji, for your wonderful explanation. This is what has been very well described in Bhagavad Gita, that when you envy, what happens ultimately? Ultimately, you lose your intelligence. And once the intelligence is lost, you are doomed. As they say, Vinash Kale Viprit Buddhi. More or less, very similarly, you lose your intelligence and everything goes with it. Envy is something very difficult to control. And people say that envy is something that goes from human being the last. It's kind of a thing which remains for a long time. But gradually, if you actively train yourself, then and then envy leaves you. In other words, when we are doing kind of a transformation of ourselves by reading the scriptures and trying to convert ourselves into someone who Krishna would like, the envy goes last. And even if it goes, trace of it can immediately come back very quickly. So let's find out what the envy is. Envy has been described in the 9th canto, 11th chapter, 23 verse. A devotee must therefore be completely free from envy, especially of other devotees. To envy other devotees is a great offense. a Vaishnava aparad, a devotee who constantly engages in hearing and chanting Shravanam and Kirtanam is certainly freed from the disease of envy, and thus he becomes eligible to go back to Godhead. The envy is such that it's very difficult to understand envy. People always try and feel why envy occurs, and that also is very difficult to understand. There are 4 different types of envy that we'll see, but basically, envy, as I said, has a simple definition, and that definition always stands true. The envy can be just a trace of envy, which can then become a very big thing. So from a negativity comes the dislike, and dislike brings disrespect. Disrespect brings disregard, and disregard creates hatred, and hatred leads to ultimately blasphemy. So we jump from one to another very quickly. And remember that whoever kills or blasphemes a Vaishnava, whoever is envious of or angry with a Vaishnava, and whoever does not offer proper greetings or feel joy upon seeing a Vaishnava certainly becomes a fallen soul. This is described in Shastras very well. This is described in the Skanda Purana. Envy is popularly known as deadly disease, and its cure, though is described, is not very easy. Jiva Goswami describes envy in Bhakti Sandarbha on the verse number 3.29, 21 to 27. And this description still holds true for the description of envy. Stage 1 is manifestation of disease of envy, and that is known as dvesha. It's also in Sanskrit called as avamana. Like deadly disease of cancer, it has also 4 stages. And the initial stage, it can be cured very easily. But once it reaches stage 3 and stage 4, it's virtually incurable. If envy is incurable, that means we are unfit to go back to Godhead. You know that wherever in Bhagavad Gita, the only no or contradiction to all the pious activities, including preaching and making people understand, is always for envious people. Those who are envious, you don't need to teach them, don't need to preach them. Envy always starts very innocently. The slight manifestation of envy towards other living entities on a first level is tam avan avanaya. Envy begins with innocent beginning. We don't say anything to do or do anything. So it's not that you need to say something or do something, but only look down. If you look down upon something, that's the beginning of envy. And this look down may be in the form of so many ways that you look upon something else more with more concentration, and you look down upon someone as if he does not exist. I am in so many ways better, superior than him is generally a feeling that every human being has. Due to my knowledge, practice, or accomplishment of quality, or he is poor, he is so many ways inferior to me. How can he be Vaishnava? Poor in memory, skill, quality. Mind you, whatever feeling you get, the opposite party also gets the same feeling. So your feeling does not really have any meaning at all. In short, the feelings that we get in the beginning that I am superior or someone is inferior is a feeling which does not have any foundation at all. Of course, once you are knowing the philosophy and knowing the Lord Krishna's explanation in Bhagavad Gita, you realize that you are not a doer, but that takes a long time. Someone else is a doer, you are just a nimitta matra. That understanding takes a time, but this happens generally when you are a neophyte. So remember that from the beginning, you must understand that whenever you feel that you are superior to others or someone is inferior to you, try and remember one good sentence, and I always remember that all glories to Srila Prabhupada, or all glories to the Vaishnavas, Acharyas, and Srila Prabhupada. So you realize that it's not your glory. You haven't done anything big. You cannot do anything big. The second level of envy is Anumanam Iswaram Hitva, that is known as Upeksha or disregard. You simply behave as if that person does not exist in your surrounding. That is typically known as Upeksha. We use this word even in our language, or disregard. You are actually avoiding someone completely. And this is still reversible. Level 3 is the hatred. And this hatred is such that you want to harm or you want to hurt someone. So when it reaches the third stage of hatred, you actually want to harm or hurt someone. And separatist means insensitivity to all. And that takes away peace from you. When you enter this stage of envy, your peace of mind disappears, never to return. The fourth level is what is known as ninda. You criticize or you insult someone. Speak fault of others while feeling nothing wrong. It has been to our notice and our knowledge as well that if you want to find faults, you can find 1,000 in a perfect person. Finding fault is very easy. So in short, there are 4 levels of envy. The first level going right up to the 4th level of hatred. These are the 4 levels that you have to understand. And the obstacles in removing the envy are many. But envy in itself creates offense. And some of the offenses have punishment which you can't even imagine. You remember the Vaishnava Radha, and that offense is described with the elephant in the garden. And you know the ultimate things that comes out of it. As I say, first 2 stages are convertible, where you can probably remove your envy and come back to the normal. But otherwise, the envy does not allow the reversal. And then about that person, you feel strongly against them. These envy basically arises out of anarthas that are there in your heart and offenses that we all commit. Until the heart is cleaned, envy is not going to go. And that's why it has been said that continuous japa mantra is very essential for you to cleanse the heart. The other day I was attending a Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu course wherein they have been taking Southern Ocean, that's from chapter 20 to 34, and the description goes the same way. Unless we are committed to the devotional service, the offenses and anarthas from us do not go away. And until you develop a soft heart, until your heart is clean, your mind is clean, you will be still roaming in the material world. If you really want to get rid of the material world and get detached, the best way is performing your devotional services, and especially the 16 rounds. They are the top most important thing, and that must be done very regularly without any break in the process. Until this happens, some of these offenses and anarthas stay with you and create a lot of obstacle in progress. If you just perform your regular sadhana, vidhi, bhakti, you will reach this spontaneous stage yourself, and you will enter into a bhava. Once the Sai Bhava comes into you, what is known as Rati, then the ecstasy eventually comes in as the love erupts and grows. And once the love grows into total transaction between you and the Lord, only love, nothing else, that's when you have achieved the loving transcendental service of the Lord for rest of your life, for our many more lives that to come. That's what we all are expecting or having a goal of. So, carry home message today is try and introspect yourself all the time to find whether you develop envy. And I am sure each of us surely will find that there are many people where we are envious with. Envy, as we said in the 4 stages, may begin with a very simple, a simple outlook, which eventually shows you hatred or last stage. But then stages are always there. You have to carefully remove the weed of envy without any disturbance at all. Unless this is done, there is no place where we can go back to Godhead. So remember this last sentence and sentence at the bottom. Negativity, dislike, disrespect, disregard, hatred, criticism, and blasphemy. So these are the 7 stages of envy or 7 symptoms of envy. If you have one of them in you, you better be very careful and actively see that that goes out of you. As I said earlier, envy is the last one to go. But then, if you make efforts from the beginning, you may not find it difficult to detach from this material world. Envy ties you up with the material world at a very subtle level so strongly that all that you do in the spiritual realm gets nullified very easily. We described the 4 stages, I hope you remember them. There are much more details, but I would not like to go into those details because each one needs a lot of explanation. But sometime we'll go into the detail as well, maybe after 6 months or a year. Any question, any doubts, any queries, any addition, any revelation, or anything else, please go ahead.
That was excellent information, Prabhuji. Very nice. Very
Thank
nice,
you.
really.
Thank you. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. It describes much in detail. But then, if I start saying that, I have to undergo a lot of explanations. So there is no time. One day we'll take all these in some other classes. Thank you, Madaji.
First time we knew so many stages and how to get
Right.
rid of it in initial stages, Prabhuji. Really, in the last 70 years of my life, I did not realize. Today I'm realizing it. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Madaji. Thank you. If there are no further questions, thank you very much for your revelations and other things. But remember that this is one of the very dangerous games that we are playing with. And so we must try and get rid of this as early as possible. No one
Prabhuji,
obstructs. Yes, Mataji.
Prabhuji, what is this BTSM? I didn't get this. Matsarya, Matsara, Asuya, and BTSM. What is that?
BTSM is a short form where it means really that you feel as if others are non-existent. It's a big word. I don't remember offhand. I'll find out. But it only means that you are feeling that everyone else is virtually of no use. There are many such feelings that one gets in the Western world. We are fortunate that from our upbringing, envy actually is curtailed or stopped growing faster. But it's very common in the Western world where you obviously see that there is so much of envy, and then you talk to him or her, and they acknowledge also, yes, I am envious to them. So they feel pride that they have envy for them.
Wonderful, Prabhuji. Understanding envy sharing is excellent, Prabhuji. First time I'm hearing the stages, 4 stages, and thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Very wonderful, Prabhuji. I'm now, it's reminded of, you already told what, Prabhuji. I think you took classes, describe the 4 stages of enviousness and everything.
Okay.
Prabhuji, you already told in one class, I think, previously from some months back.
I felt so.
It's very
That's why
nice. Yes.
I kept it short once I had done that. But you see, these are the things which needs repetition. So all of us need it to be repeated.
This is most of all the unearths. All the unearths may gradually may decrease, but this enviousness is most powerful. Truly, Prabhuji, thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. If there are no further questions, I think we are shooting out of time. वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. Hare Koti Vishnu ki jai. Hare Krishna to everyone. Thank you very much for attending the class. And all of you have a wonderful Krishna conscious day ahead. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Hare Krishna. Pranam.